Vajra Kalta, Vajra Fateh. Hi and welcome to Late Night Banter. Superheroes, they change lives, they save lives. They often wear their underpants on the outside and a shiny suit. But you know what? We have superheroes in plain sight. They don't have their underpants on the outside, they just change lives and save lives by the thousands. If you don't believe me, watch this video about my next guest and you'll see.
Everyone who enters Hill Paradise, they always wonder, how can this be a place for the orphans and underprivileged? There is so much of beautiful buildings surrounded by green hills, and they can't believe this is an orphanage. Everywhere you look around, there is only happiness. They are our children, our family. When you decide to provide it to those who are denied, why settle with leftovers when you can provide the best? All you have to do is go that extra mile. That is how Heal differs.
I don't know what's the meaning of rich. I am so very poor. When I came here, I become a rich man. In Hill, where all children are staying, they are also rich only. We are Hill family. That's it.
Health and education for all is a right. It's not a privilege. I see that we are far from achieving that, so I felt this could be a lifetime ambition which we could make a start. We want to create an environment where children are engaged in an innovative way and they are self-learning.
All these things, they stick in your mind. If you really see, when you grow up as an adult, what are the things that we do remember? We do remember the sports we played, we remember these kind of extracurricular activities. So these are far and few and which leave an impression on a child's mind for life.
So this paradise, I want to create something as a model for the future and to build a society on this ethos. I believe it is the role of the society to participate in the paradise that exists in the minds of every child. End of the day, we are all the children of the paradise.
Vajra Kalta, Vajra Fateh. Hi, welcome to Late Night Banter with me, Del Singh. And my guest today is somebody that I feel is truly inspirational because he's got a connection to charity. And charity is something I know as Sikhs we're all very much about. You know, looking after others, the welfare of others is important. And I know I do my odd bit of running and so on to help a charity, but my guest today actually has gone much further. So much so, he actually founded a charity. Started a charity 25 years ago that has actually helped and shaped the lives of literally thousands of orphan children in India. So I'm delighted today to welcome my special guest, Dr. Satya Prasad Kaneru, who I do call Prasad because he's a friend of mine too. So Prasad, welcome to Late Night Banter.
Thank you, Del, for asking me here today.
No, not at all. So thank you. It's truly inspirational. I mean, it's not often I meet people and I think, you know what, I've got to let more people know about this guy because of some of the amazing things you do. So I apologise for actually embarrassing you now, but it will get easier as we go forward. So Prasad, let me just give the viewers a little bit of background and something about your history. You were born in Andhra Pradesh in India, and obviously you had aspirations to become a GP and a doctor?
That's right, and I always wanted to be with the community, so the NHS gave me a good opportunity to be a family doctor in this country.
Okay, yeah. So but originally you studied medicine in India?
In India, and soon after my graduation I came over here during February 1976, and then I did some psychiatric training.
Okay.
And then I went into the family training
Okay.
program.
So, but whilst you were growing up in India, now Andhra Pradesh now, for some of our viewers out there might not know, there's obviously some fairly big deprivation in that part of the world, in southern India. That obviously affected you as a teenager, I believe, because, whilst you were studying to become a doctor, a lot of people around you were barely studying to actually eat and live.
Yeah.
And so, how did that affect you?
I grew up on a farm. Both parents were mom and dad farming community. So one of the workers who was working there, he said one day when I was very little, probably about 10, 11 years old, he had a limb taken away because he had late diagnosis of diabetes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then he said to me, you are the kind of person I would, if you can become a doctor and help people like me, then I said, yeah, that I will do that for you.
So somebody literally challenged you at that age to do something, and you obviously took it to heart because you moved on and became a doctor. So the interesting thing is, as you said a moment ago, you left India having graduated, become a doctor, and I guess opportunity lay over this side of the water in the UK. So I think it was around 1976 you came to practice medicine in the UK, and you chose Peterborough, which is my hometown. I was born there, so I'm quite passionate about that. But why Peterborough? Because it's hardly what I would call kind of like, central city or whatever in the UK.
Yeah. And I never wanted to leave India in the first place.
Okay.
And then I came over here because of the family circumstances. And I used to run deprivation clinics and the slums in India while I was a medical student.
Right.
And when I was talking about this to one of my trainers in a program, general practice training program, and he said, why don't you go and see this place? There are deprived pockets in the city.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then one half day when I was in the hospital training, I came over to Peterborough. And there I saw this place, dilapidated so-called health center,
right,
porter cabin. Then I said, okay, this is somewhere I can make a difference. So I chose that place when I finished my training, and I came over and set up the practice there. And within a year, we built a new health center with our own money. And we never looked back after that.
So it's kind of almost a little bit like it's one of my favourite books, The Citadel, which is obviously a doctor sort of coming to a very deprived place rather than going to a very affluent place, where you can make a lot of money very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you sort of started at kind of a very low level to actually help the grassroots community in Peterborough. And I do know, because obviously as somebody who was born in Peterborough and growing up, the part of Peterborough you were in was a place that I know we were told, don't go down there on your bikes because it's really rough. And so we did have to keep away from that. And the deprivation you saw in the UK up against the deprivation you'd witnessed in India, I mean, it wasn't necessarily on par, but were there similarities?
I felt it is really, people are the same wherever they lived in the world. It's only a minor differences. Here, we have some safety net for all the people all the citizens in this country.
Okay.
That's the fundamental difference between.
Is that social services and so on?
And developing countries and the UK NHS and the deprivation here is still there, poverty there. Yeah. But it's relative compared to the other people. So at home, when they are poor, they are struggling to have 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Often they will only have 2 meals. Wow. And the children also are going to go to work rather than going to school to subsidize the rest of the family income. So that's the fundamental difference between back in developing countries, particularly in India where I'm working now, and here. Though over the period of time now the government has introduced some safety net there, but it's not enough. Yeah, no,
but like you say, I mean, there is that term living on the bread line, but in India sometimes there's no bread even, it's just a line, isn't there? And that's it, that's the big difference, I guess. So you obviously then settled in Peterborough, you did some great things moving from a porter cabin to a health centre and so on. Now, back in the 70s, it was an era where there still weren't that many brown faces around in the UK. Right, so I've got to ask a question. I mean, did you encounter kind of racism either from patients or colleagues when you kind of like set up?
Yeah, there is still there. Okay. It's much more milder now, and hidden rather than obvious. I only experienced one episode. That was an alcoholic who said, "I don't want to see a paki."
Right.
And they always used to refer any brown skin to
As
paki.
that word, yeah.
And interestingly enough, one patient who never wanted to see an elderly gentleman lived on a farm, very nice. His wife wanted him to see me because it was recommended by his previous doctor. And he said, "No, no way I'm going to see a colored doctor.
Yeah.
I have never seen a colored doctor, not in my age now, I'm not going to change that."
Right.
She said, "Just give a chance for him, and why don't you come and see? I'm going to see him anyway."
Right.
And it so happened after he met and saw me, and he never wanted to see anybody else until his last breath.
Oh, wow.
And he used to come and ask me, "Is it okay to take this? And is it all right?" And bless him, and he became a strong supporter of HEAL.
Okay.
And he started straight away sponsoring some children, and then raised money, and he left some money in his will as well.
That's remarkable. We'll come on to a little bit about HEAL shortly. But so, you know, I mean, again, it just shows you that I guess there is always this fear of the unknown. And maybe, you know, I know we sometimes can turn around and say, it's ignorance, but it's not ignorance. It's what people don't know. And I think generally in their hearts, there were those people that would say, "I don't want to see a coloured doctor," because they were scared. I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean, you know, as somebody that was born in the 60s in Peterborough, you know, my parents actually had a shop. And back in those days, you know, food wasn't pre-packaged. So, you know, your meats and your cheeses were kind of served and cut and so on. And what was interesting was there was we had our shop, and then there was a grocer, an English grocer further up the road. And what he would tell people to stop them coming to my parents' shop was, "Don't go there, because when they serve the food, the colour will come off their hands onto the food and it will contaminate you." And people would do that. They would think like that. But then, you know, when they realised after a little bit of time the nonsense, and they realised that, you know, we had a very friendly manner. My parents did. They saw us as kids, very polite, would open the door for them. Hello. And I thought, wow, this is pretty good. So, you know, you overcome those barriers, and clearly with this gentleman, that barrier was crossed.
And he is such a lovely man. This is what makes the difference, you see.
Yeah.
People, because of probably fear that come out of ignorance and misinformation, and that's what makes the individual to perceive in a different way.
Yeah.
And once he interacts with the person, and his loyalty never went.
Yeah.
And so they are fundamentally good people.
But they're good people, but maybe they just need to be educated and know and experience something. And that's good. And so I'm pleased that happened. Now, I know you said you didn't really want to leave India, but you came, you settled, you obviously got married in the UK as well. Your wife is a GP.
I married in the medical school. She was one of the volunteers who used to work in our slum
projects.
Clinics.
Okay. But your wife is a GP too, and joined you in the UK.
Afterwards,
Okay, but you never forgot the kind of pledge you made to the people back in Andhra Pradesh, where you grew up, of trying to go back. You know, when I've made it, I'm going to come back and help you, and you did that, which is remarkable. And this is where HEAL, which is Health and Education for All, as a charity, and it's healcharity.org is the website. So this is the charity you founded back in 1992, so over 25 years ago now.
Yeah, and we started off with a small number of volunteers in the clinic itself. My practice manager used to be the secretary, and she used to run the office from her home.
Right.
And she's, bless her, Kathleen Bardale. Now she's in her 95th year.
Wow.
And she, after her husband passed away, she ran the office virtually on her own.
So your idea was, look, I promised these guys I'd go back and do something. I'll go back. So what you actually did was, and correct me if I'm wrong, you actually went back to India where you had a family home, and you donated your family home.
Yeah, that was a nice thing to happen.
That was a remarkable thing. That most people wouldn't. You know, most people think they donate a fiver and they're great, but you actually gave your family home over to use as an orphanage, which was for 26 children initially.
That's it. 26, starting with the 26 children. It's a big house. Yeah. And then we built upstairs and nice gardens to play with. And we never felt so happy, you know. We could have got rent and this and that.
Yeah, of
but
course.
That would have never gave me that happiness. I had children playing in that house and in the gardens and doing the gardening. And that gave
And these
us-
are all orphan children, aren't they?
Orphans,
They're
yeah.
orphan children. So they're children that, you know, I mean, you know, I was blessed in that I've had two parents, and you know, we've all been through there. And you know, what they give us materially is great. What they give us in terms of love and protection is
Absolutely.
irreplaceable.
Yeah.
But for a child who doesn't experience the love, the protection, the safety, then that's something. So you kind of stepping in there, and actually, certainly in that first instance, 26 children kind of got that love, they got that safety and security and an education that they weren't going to get otherwise, is quite remarkable. And I think you touched on it, which is, we talked about this briefly before we started talking here, about the feeling of kind of like elation you get from helping other people.
Absolutely. I think this is what people ask me often, where what motivates you. I say it is not the feeling that we are doing something for others, it is actually helping ourselves.
That's
the enormous
brilliant.
happiness, that's the only sustainable happiness one would experience in life compared to all the other episodes we get. They are limited.
Yeah.
Whereas when you are able to see yourself in the other person,
Yeah.
and you are able to see your own child in other child,
Yeah.
and you need to experience it.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
You do.
And,
I mean, I'm kind of like sort of welling up a little bit because I've actually been through these emotions as well. When I do my little bit of charity compared to you, I'm nowhere on the scale. But when I do something, and I know that's gone to help someone.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually helped them, but you know what? I feel good. I feel good,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
you know, I get that kind of endorphin rush. Makes me feel, you know, it's a natural high you get from doing good things. Which, you know, and if anybody's out there, I'm sure there's a lot of people that do great things out there, and they probably know exactly what it is. But if you don't, seriously, try this, and you'll feel so much better about yourself. You know, it's a real buzz you get. You know,
and it's absolutely essential. People have a look at it, and when you're listening to us conversation, go out and see something. Probably you already do something in your life, but this is going to last until your last breath.
Yeah.
So this is something great. We are not doing anything special, but it is a beauty, and you feel once and for all, this is a great opportunity God has given you. If you believe in God, it doesn't matter if you don't believe in God, but I see this as an opportunity God has given us to be part of another person's life's journey. And that's what I saw as a family doctor in this country and a family doctor anywhere. And it is a great feeling.
Just affecting one person's life is brilliant, but you've kind of done this for thousands. So I guess let me ask you the question. You know, you went from the UK back to India. Now, you know, you've kind of spent more time here than you have there. You've gone over there. What were some of the challenges that you faced in terms of trying to deliver the care and so on? Did you come against obstacles when you tried to set this orphanage up from, you know, the local, if not the local people, local authorities and stuff? And how did you overcome some of those?
Yes, it is very difficult sometimes to get the approvals and the bureaucracy and the corruption that is there, which we all know. We can't hide it because it's there in a part of day-to-day life, and so that does affect, even though it is a charity and you're not doing it for yourself or other children. The person who is involved may not see that way. For that person, it may be just like any other application or another.
It's more about it's their self-interest as opposed to the interest of, you know, you're trying to help other people. They're just literally trying to help themselves.
That's it. Yeah, and fortunately we have a lot of volunteers there. As you know, HEAL is a volunteer-based organization. All of us are volunteers, and in India also there are volunteers. They work full-time, some of them, and some of them work part-time. They're business people. Still, they see it as an opportunity to help and help themselves as well. Themselves means not taking money or anything from it, but they are all donors, but they feel happiness, and now they see, yes, why didn't we do it before? And
so you know, you then, I mean, for someone like me, I would have thought, you know what, I'm helping 25, 26 kids here. God, aren't I great? But you didn't stop there. You kind of went on, and you've actually now created the Heal Paradise Village, which is caring for thousands of kids.
1,000 children.
So 1,000 children there being cared for. So, and that's quite a large facility. So, it's so tell me a little bit more how that came about.
When we had the house full, 26 children, and then I thought, okay, we can't stop here because the need is so great. Not that we can satisfy the need forever, but I need to do more.
Okay.
So we built a purpose-built children's village near Guntur, which is again south central India. And that is a home for 220 children.
Okay.
We built individual units and linked in a circular fashion, and each unit has a homely atmosphere with a mother, house mother, and 10 children as a unit. And they go next door to a school which is fully equipped, and she became our Secretary of Heal in India. And that continued all these 25 years. The first child who came to us at 3 months old, now she graduated a Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science and got married last year, and she's going to have her own child this July.
So you've actually gone the full circle. You've got your first child at 3 months old is now a mother herself.
She's going to be a mom, and she's fully pregnant now. And that gives immense happiness. So, and that led to Poverty Trap program, where we choose 13 schools who are mainly catering for deprived and low economic groups, and we improve the quality, and the results speak for themselves. And now that gave me said, okay, let's do something special.
So you got the impetus now to do even more.
Let us do something special for the children. And that came about Heal Paradise.
Right.
Heal Paradise is a 27-acre site.
27 acres?
Acres.
Wow.
And it's next to a beautiful lake and a lot of green hills. If you, there is not enough space here to talk about all those details. If you could kindly go to healcharity.org or healparadise.org. But healcharity.org will give you all the details and necessary links where you could watch the videos and be part of the location.
So you basically, I mean, because I obviously looked at this and I've seen this, and you effectively ended up with 27 acres there, which I believe you negotiated pretty hard for, and this is all money. All the money to actually buy this stuff was raised through donations. It wasn't sort of, you know, and I believe your negotiating skills kind of even leave me cold in terms of how you got some of the people there in India to agree to this stuff is remarkable. But you know, you then actually went about on what was a greenfield site, building complexes, which now also include things like an artificial limb centre, I believe. So, you know, where children who are obviously unable to, walk properly or whatever, you can actually get them custom limbs fitted and so on to do that, and also for visually impaired children as well.
We have joined hands with another small charity based in London. It's called Elizabeth Legacy of Hope. They themselves were victims of an accident, so that's how it evolved. And our charity now provides state-of-the-art limbs imported from here and service the limb for the rest of their lives, because it is a unique project. It is a lot of people do camps and provide limbs, and then that's the end of that bit. But here we have created a center which is sustainable and providing the limbs for children who lost their limbs either through accidents or birth defects. We provide that on a regular basis, and we service them throughout their life, because as they grow, they need adjustments.
Adjustments, yeah.
And so it's a permanent service there. And the eco-friendly village, this is a model that we have created there.
Right.
And we are nearly 100% energy self-sufficient.
Oh, wow, okay.
And we give the surplus energy to the grid. And we have a visually challenged center, Institute for Visually Challenged. another GP colleague from Birmingham, interestingly enough, as we are screening this program from here, and a colleague of ours, Dr. Chunduri, Dhananjay Rao, and his wife and family gave us 1 crore to start off this institute.
1 crore rupees is about
100,000 pounds. Yeah.
Wow, that's very generous.
And that's very generous of them. And we have built that now. We have 25 children. It is designed for 100 children to be educated.
Right.
So they're all residential. This is a unique project.
It's absolutely.
And
well, certainly in India. I've not seen anything like this in India, and there's probably very few projects like this in the UK as well.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a village where we have a community living together. This is like old Gurukul. Ancient India have Gurukul where children would go to their Guru, where they live with the Guru. Here we have everybody living together on this campus, and they do grow their own food, organic food, and they have a health center. They go out and they have a huge playing area, and they are very good at arts and performing
Well, they've got 26 acres, so that's a big playing area. That's a big playing area. That's absolutely inspirational and pretty brilliant. Now, you've now retired as a GP, and you're pretty much full-time heal everything. And I was kind of like slightly tickled because you're sort of skilled as a negotiator. I believe you don't let any opportunity go by. I believe you turned up at a wedding, and you're in Texas of all places, and got talking to somebody there about heal, and ended up getting this guy to pay for
latest state-of-the-art kitchen.
State-of-the-art kitchen.
And this is healthy, and the solar energy is converted into steam.
Okay.
And steam is used to cook. And then with support from a little bit of extra gas as well.
Yeah.
And most of it is automatic.
Yeah.
And so it helps people, because we need to feed 1,500 people.
Right.
4 times every day.
Yeah.
So, and also they all need to go to school pretty much at the same time. So we have 2 sessions. It can seat 500 children in one go, and then they go to school, and so it's lovely to be able to see.
But you get invited to a wedding, you go there, you get chatting to one of the guests who probably came there for a bit of cake and a bit of a party, and the guy ended up kind of like parting with £140,000 or something to go to furnish a kitchen. I mean, obviously lovely man, generous to a fault, and it's great to know. But the thing here, guys, is if you go to a wedding and Prasad is sitting next to you, ask to be moved, or make sure you've got deep pockets. So that's brilliant.
It's lovely, because unless every one of us, I believe, has that desire to do something for the person who is next to us, and particularly if they are in need. Sometimes we are able to do it, sometimes we are not able to do it, but that doesn't mean it is not there. So it's just a question of me being a conduit, or he'll being a conduit to be able to help. If once you see it, this is a genuine organization, then you are prepared to go that extra mile and help those children.
Sure, brilliant. And like you say, going the extra mile, I mean, HEAL is now very much a global charity. You started here with the UK and India connection, but you've now in the States, in Australia, in sort of Spain as well.
And in India as well, it's fully registered, and donations are tax deductible. So that's another incentive for people who are already willing to give.
And these days you're pretty much spending most of your time traveling around the world, fundraising. And I think whilst it's important that, listening to you recently, because I'm obviously working and doing some fundraising for HEAL myself, which I'll talk about in a minute, but part of the important thing is not just building what you've got, but also sustaining what you've got.
And that's the most important thing.
It's making sure that thing continues, because obviously if the money doesn't come in, things stop.
Some of the donors, that's a very good question, and everybody asks me the same thing. Yes, we are giving you $100,000 or 100,000 pounds, but what is going to happen when you are gone? You have got a lot more children now to be looked after, and this is a big project. We are worried. Tell us how you are going to make it. So what we have planned is creating an endowment fund, which will look after 1/3 of the expenses that are involved in a daily basis.
Okay, so the endowment fund will look after
Yeah.
that running cost and so on.
And
Yeah.
a sponsorship program is another one which provides 1/3 of the expenses both for their daily sustenance and education and their health care. The remaining 1/3, people like Dell running a marathon or doing a coffee morning, or we had a lovely Punjabi family who who climbed 3 peaks, the youngsters, and then inspired by the youngsters, parents cooked a lovely Indian meal and packed and served to their colleagues, and the bank got involved and they matched all the money they have raised.
Yeah,
so all this kind of activity and involving themselves in helping somebody whom they probably not seen in their life, but they feel one with another human being.
Which is remarkable. So the thing is, I mean, and this is there's a little something here. This is actually the 25th anniversary edition of. It's a great magazine. You can kindly download this from the HEAL website, and you can see, as Prasad says, how that money is being spent. The children, I mean, just seeing the face of these kids actually is quite remarkable, you know, being fitted with limbs and stuff and whatever, you know, it makes a big difference. So please check that out. This is 25th anniversary. So these guys have been doing this for this guy in particular, has been doing it for 25 years, along with a great team of volunteers.
And a great news to share with you who are watching this program. GCSE equivalent is the 10th class they call in India. The results are out last week. All our first batch and the existing Guntur Children's Village batch, they all passed 100% results. The scores are between 80 to 95%.
Wow.
And that gives us immense happiness, and it is something to celebrate and share with others.
Absolutely. So great teachers as well. Now, I'm going to touch on something, because I know some people watching out there are probably going to say, charity. And charity's become a little bit of a dirty word in recently because of problems with Oxfam and some of these other guys, although, you know, I'm not knocking Oxfam, they do a great job. Sadly, there were some morons that worked within there that exploited the system. You know, so please, as I keep saying time and time again, you know, let's not actually, you know, blame the charity thing, but all the charities do need to get their houses in order. I mean, one of the reasons I, this year, chose HEAL as a charity to support is because there are no, you know, you're not getting paid a massive salary. Nobody else is getting paid salaries. Everybody's doing this voluntarily. So all donations, I know that all the money I raise and all the money others donate to the charity goes to the kids. Outside of maybe the minute admin running costs to pay charity commission returns, that sort of stuff. The rest of it
negligible.
Is negligible.
And we all pay our own transport facilities, and when we travel around the world, we pay ourselves, and the people like Dell and who are working with the other committee members, they pay themselves to their own money to even attend the meetings, and they're all donors and volunteers as well.
Yeah, and I think that's quite important right now, because I think people have been left with a little bit of bad taste in their mouth in that, you know, I give you £1, and out of that £1, only, you know, 30p or 40p goes to the charity. The rest of it goes to run, you know, somebody's car and pay for their petrol. That doesn't actually happen at HEAL. At HEAL, you give the £1, pretty much 99 pence of it is going to the charity.
So even more, because when it comes to say for example, we raised $1 million, we spent probably 150 or 200 on the statutory requirement expenses, paying. Even our accountants do free
voluntary
auditing.
This man's a tough negotiator. He's got accountants. He's got accountants doing stuff for free. Probably lawyers as well. So, like I said, tough negotiator, a brilliant man. So HEAL is now looking after around 3,000 children through the village plus the outreach program that you have. But the aspiration there is to actually 10,000 kids.
10,000 by 2020.
By 2020, it's not long,
and
far away.
I think we can get there, but we need an awful lot of people and supporters like yourself who are watching, and see this as an opportunity and contact Dell or contact anybody in Heal Paradise or healcharity.org, that would help.
So I mean, that was going to be the thing. If people are watching and they're interested and they're thinking, well, I'd like to find out more, what can I do? And, you know, okay, it's not just about the money, because money is important, but time is important as well. I know right now, you know, there are opportunities at Heal on a voluntary basis, I hasten to add, so nobody's making money out of this, but, you know, there is an opportunity to maybe, if you're good with social media, and you can help the charity there. If you want to get involved in some of the event organisation, that's pretty good as well. Yeah. And yes, there is the opportunity to get out to India to see some of this stuff in action as well. And of course, fundraising. I mean, you know, Heal does a lot of stuff. I mean, this is the thing I'm doing. It's my quarter, half and full marathon challenge. I've run the quarter marathon. I'm in training now to run a full marathon in Loch Ness in September. Prasad's sort of smirking here. He's thinking, that guy will never do a marathon. And then do a half marathon to finish off with. So, you know, the idea is I'm trying to raise £5,000 for Heal because it's something that's close to my heart. And it's also because it makes me feel good as well, as we said earlier on. But again, Heal have got other initiatives running. There was Cycle India.
Cycle India. We do it in different states every other year.
Okay.
Alternate years. February this year, they're done in state of Karnataka. Probably some of you know. And the previous one we did in Maharashtra, starting from Mumbai to Goa. I also participated in that.
So this is cycling about 460
kilometers over a period of 5 years, and then they spend 2 days with the children.
Okay.
And that's a excellent feeling for them, and they continue to be supporters. Yeah. And quite a few of them, they do come back and some of them did 4 or 5 marathon, Cycle India. So it's a good way to see India, and it's an excellent experience. You'll get a lot of friends too.
It is. I mean, sadly, I missed out on the 2018 because it in February. And 2020, it's every 2 years these guys do it. So you can get it on information website. I've already signed up kind of in my head to do 2020 and sort of obviously make sure I get some really decent padded shorts and a padded saddle, because that sounds like tough terrain, but it sounds like it's really rewarding. And then there's obviously things like India Night. I know you do it in Peterborough, which is a fairly big affair where a lot of people come and you know, enjoy a social evening and donate as well and so on. And I believe you're doing some stuff out in California and
that's right.
as well. So no stopping you there.
I'll be going there in August and September, another fundraising tour. And I'm really thrilled to meet all these lovely people. And I don't have to say much, to be honest, because they think I get the credit, but the credit must go to them because they are good people. They are just waiting for an opportunity, and also a right kind of charity where they can spend their hard-earned money. These are not people who made quick bucks. These are people who have worked all their lives and saved some money, and they're only too happy to share what their hard-earned money can go to somebody, some other child also to help them.
So they're kind of paying it forward, aren't they? It's that altruism which is remarkable, which I think is brilliant. And you know, the thing is, if there are folks out there that want to know a little bit more about Heal, please, you know, go to healcharity.org, find out more about it. You know, whether you're donating, whether you want to volunteer, whether you've got some ideas. We're always open to ideas. I think it's great to, you know, anything and anybody can contribute to that.
As you were saying earlier, Andel, it's not about the money alone. If you have any skills, it doesn't matter. If you can spare some time, an hour, a chat, because the school is a state-of-the-art technology user. The whole campus is Wi-Fi enabled, and we have a lot of smart classes. So if you are sitting in your own home and wondering what is that I could do, you could just go onto your FaceTime or Skype or whatever the modern technology at your disposal. You will be able to communicate with the children and be part of their life. So sometimes they just need the feeling that there is somebody around the world, somewhere they don't even know, are thinking about them. And that gives them that security of feeling, because they have lost their loved ones and they are feeling that lonely. And when somebody like you says, hello to them, how are you? That makes a lot of difference. So don't worry, it is not just the money. Showing and expressing your concern and love for another soul in this part of the world is more than enough for those children.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. That's yeah, quite remarkable. So Prasad, we've talked about here. We talked about GP. Now, you had this training in medicine. I guess I'm gonna kind of move off a little bit on that and now ask you the question: if you things hadn't gone the path they'd gone and you become a GP, looking back in hindsight now, is there an alternative career that you would have thought, God, wish I would have done that? Something you think you would have liked to have done?
Yeah, some people ask that, but I never wanted to be anything else.
Anything other?
I have enjoyed being a family doctor, particularly in this country, in NHS, where I practiced in a deprived area. I gained a lot of satisfaction and happiness out of sharing their lives and their illnesses, their journeys. I think this is a God-given privilege to be a doctor, and particularly in this country where you do not need to think about whether that patient is going to pay you or not able to pay you or any such things. You are only thinking about that individual who came to seek your help sitting next to you. And that's a great privilege as a physician for me, and I would not choose anything else.
Okay. So, and in terms of, I mean, these days, you kind of, I know heal takes up a lot of your time, but, you must do something to sort of relax and switch off. What is it that you kind of like tend to do?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. A lot of patients ask me,
Go on, then.
When are you going to have your holiday? I said, I don't need a holiday anymore, because when you go there, it is the best holiday you could have in your life.
This is when you go to the Paradise Village?
Paradise Village.
Okay.
And when I see the children smiling and they're coming and touching you and holding your hands and wants to hug, gosh, that is something you cannot buy with money, and there is no other holiday that will give you that recharge. I feel fully recharged and really on top of the mountain, and so I never felt the need for holidays
and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess not that I wish you any ill and so on, but how would Prasad like to be remembered if you were writing an epitaph, or what would you like people to say about you?
Sorry.
What would you like people to say about you in the years to come?
Oh, if they remember my work, not me, that would be a great tribute for me. And then if they are really good friends, they don't have to remember my name either. What all they need to remember is the work that we have been doing and heal and continue that work.
And continue to support it.
And that will be a great reward and a great present for me, really, more than anything else.
Okay, brilliant. And so, just talking about general stuff and so on, I mean, I know you get a lot of joy from, being out the Paradise Village and stuff, but when you're here in the UK or sitting at home and so on, it's raining outside on a Sunday, which rains every Sunday, we're in the UK. So, do you listen to things like music? Can you remember what sort of music you first got into?
I do like music, and particularly something soothing, relaxing, and I was listening to this music the other day while driving from London to Peterborough, the Gen Asian music, or I used to go when I first came to this country when Ravi Shankar was.
So it's a more sitar-based
kind of London, and tabla I like, and drums.
Okay.
I wanted to learn drums, but something, as I always been busy with my work, I never materialized, but I still enjoy that, and that's probably where the Bhangra music and all that comes in.
Yeah, that's where it evolved from, I suppose. I mean, and so on. But people like Ravi Shankar obviously was at the forefront of that music. I mean, he even influenced and played with the Beatles and people like that. So obviously, quite something.
Interestingly enough, every India night we have done 11 so far.
Yeah.
Every year we have a drummer from Punjabi community comes, and people love it. And even me feel really excited about it.
So we're going to see you doing a bit of dancing, a bit of Bhangra dancing at the next.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
God, I'm going to struggle to keep up with you on that one and so on. So that's good. So let me ask you a question. I mean, what about things like sort of movies? Do you have a favourite movie or a genre of movie?
Yeah, I never watched a film throughout my educational career when I was in India. Then when I came here, I do like some films, Western films with my son, because he will always say, "Dad, let's go and have a bit of family time," and then that means he's going to want to go for a film.
So now, is that his choice of film, or have you got
his choice of
his choice of film? So of the choice of films, so
Lord of the Rings and
Lord of the Rings,
and Harry Potter and these kind of films I've seen with him so many times.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so you're more of an action man action man. You're not kind of.
So I don't have to pay attention too much.
Yeah, so you're not into rom-coms and stuff.
No.
You're more action man. What about TV? Do you get to watch much in the way of television?
Yes, I regularly used to watch news and all those programs. And BBC is my favorite.
So, but yeah, you know what? I know a lot of people do knock the BBC, but I actually do love the BBC. Not just because I think some of their output, like the sort of the Attenborough type nature programs, are remarkable.
I watched all David
Attenborough stuff is quite remarkable, but at the same time, some of the dramas they do are pretty good. So I'm happy to pay my license fee.
He's a great man, and he has done marvelous service to all of us. I feel jealous about him sometimes. Look, he's able to go to every corner of the globe.
Now, come on, that would have been a job you would have liked. So I know you said you want to be a GP, but I bet you if you had a chance to be Attenborough...
I don't think I could do a job like him.
No, none of us could, but we'd all love to have a go, wouldn't we? It'd be brilliant to do. Brilliant to do. And what about, do you get much time to do any reading and stuff?
Yes, I do read particularly about the education, how to improve education.
Okay.
And what's the meaning of universities
so is this stuff that you can then go and take to India to put into practice, how to improve the way that people are educated, information disseminated over
I keep myself informed about what's going on the latest developments in
techniques
education.
And stuff.
Techniques.
Okay.
and I like that because hopefully all our children will benefit from that.
Okay. Now I've got to ask you the question, are you a foodie? Are you a cook? Are you a chef? Are you good in the kitchen or not?
No, I'm hopeless because, and people ask me, Dale, what is that food you like?
Yeah, go on then.
Because I am very blessed in my life. My mother, she passed away last year.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And she lived with us for 23 years in this country.
Right.
And my parents were here together. Dad passed away earlier on. But she never allowed me into the kitchen.
Right.
And all the people, wherever I go, there is so much of love and affection. And they give it, and I eat it. For me, it doesn't matter what is on the plate. With that love and affection makes the food.
But you must have a favourite dish. We all have a favourite dish we'd love to eat. Come on.
Yes, I have a bit of a sweet tooth, so I do have the Indian sweets sometimes.
You don't look like you eat too many.
But now I walk. I like walking.
Yeah, good.
So whatever I eat, I'd like to spend.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good. So that's.
And favorite food is chocolate. Really, now I'm trying to cut it down. That is my Achilles heel.
That's your Achilles heel, chocolate. Yeah. Well, I think if you're watching this, will probably realise that's an Achilles heel. So it's either Indian sweets like burfi and stuff, or chocolate. Yeah. So one of the two. So that's pretty good. So let me ask you, we're talking about food, which brings us nicely to a little thing called dinner party, where I actually ask my guests a little bit about people that have influenced their lives and heroes and mentors. You know, if you were allowed to have a dinner party, invite 3 guests, dead or alive, to come and sit with you, to break bread with you, who would they be and why would you pick them?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I always thought, being in Cambridgeshire as well, Stephen Hawkins.
Oh, yes.
Professor Hawkins, the late Professor Hawkins. And every time I have a little bit of pain or discomfort in a body-wise, physical discomfort, I always think about him. Immediately, my pains become minuscule and disappear. That, I think, a remarkable a human being, and showed what a human being is capable.
How you can overcome such a
unbelievable
disability.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he has produced so much that mankind would benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm grateful.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
It's a personal hero.
I'm grateful we lived in the same era while with him while he was still
So who
around.
else outside of Stephen Hawking would you want around the table? Who else? The other two?
Nelson Mandela is another gentleman I always admire.
Okay.
And it's my unfortunate misfortune that I have never had a chance to meet him. I was hoping to meet him before he passed away, to take our Heal charity to him and share some of the thoughts and any advice he would give me.
Yeah.
He was a remarkable man,
quite.
and I think in the modern world, I don't think there are many people.
No.
I don't think even a handful of people who can come any close to his stature.
And who would your last person?
And the gentleman, I had the opportunity to meet him. I missed his late Abdul Kalam, President of India, and a nuclear physicist.
Okay.
He was such a simple man, and he was a great teacher and humanitarian.
Oh, that's cool.
And for me, those are the people who have a lot to take from. And they are great people in my book.
And if you had somebody to do the washing up that maybe wasn't quite as nice,
yes,
who would that be?
I can't think about it really. And everybody I came across in my life, they are such a lovely people. This is why I said again, I am so fortunate and blessed, and I haven't seen anybody who is not nice to me so far.
Okay.
In this
well,
life.
there's often always been villains around there. I mean, I know quite a lot of my guests sort of struggle with this. Some are kind of like find somebody in current politics to do. Some will generally tend to sort of go with people like Adolf Hitler and Attila the Hun, or people that weren't so nice and so on.
Those are the kind of people I would not invite to them even for washing.
Well, they'd probably wreck your dishes. So, Prasad, we're almost coming to the end now. It's been really good and insightful. Now, one last thing I've got here is, and this is just a bit of fun here. Now, I'd like to pick out some questions at random and just read the question, answer it. Totally honestly, I know you.
What is the strangest compliment you have ever been given, and by who? Well, that's an interesting question.
The strangest compliment.
Yes, and when I retired, one of the patients kindly came and all the way, though she moved away, and then gave me a card, and she said in that card, you did a lot for me, and 35 years ago you gave me an advice which I still carry in my mind, and it helped me a great deal. I can't remember that advice I gave. And you tend to remember the difficult cases rather than somebody whom you have helped. But it's something like that.
But it was something like that. But it's a compliment and so on. Stranger or otherwise, it's something. So go on there, have another go at see what else we've got in here. These are random.
Have you ever ridden a horse? Not a horse, but I used to sit on a buffalo when I was at home as a kid.
You used to sit on a buffalo?
Yeah.
Okay. Blimey. Okay. So don't go for the easy stuff, do you? No, don't do a horse, but do a buffalo. Okay.
Yes, we used to go on the field, you see. What bores you? Please do not say me. Oh. Yes. What bores me? A purposeless, useless conversations. And you have been a great help, particularly for Heal. So I would never say.
Oh, you're too magnanimous. As soon as he's out of here, he's going to say, that Dell bloke. Oh, jeez. What did I ever meet him for? Right.
Your favorite sandwich filling? Yes, that's a very nice.
I said these are random, so go on.
I like that fish, what is that, tuna.
Tuna,
and sometimes cheese and tomato.
You've got to pick one there, so we'll go with tuna on that. I'll give you one more of these. I did say they're random, a bit crazy, so go on, there you go.
Your favorite comic book superhero and why? I've been watching with my son the Avengers type of things.
Right,
Yeah.
go on. So go on. What's
the superheroes.
so, but there must be, which is your favourite? There must have one that you think, that's
Yeah,
pretty
Iron
cool.
Man.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, you are a kind of Iron Man. you are. I've not met that many people who've got the resolve, the resilience, the perseverance, and the downright doggedness that you've had, Prasad. I certainly have, been enriched by meeting you. I'm delighted that you spent time to talk to us today. I'm looking forward to doing some more stuff with HEAL. I hope that the viewers watching have found today interesting and will go to healcharity.org and at least have a look at the charity, see what it's about. And as Prasad said, if you can contribute with your time and help in any way, your money is good too. That would be brilliant. So all that remains for me to say is, Prasad, thank you very much for...
Thank you, Del, for inviting me, and thank you very much for spending your valuable time and watching our conversation. I hope it has been some use. Sometimes it's a long talk. You will always find it is not that great use, but I hope you will have an opportunity to chat with and help somehow to those children who deserve immensely anything that we could do. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad. That's very kind of you. Also, all that remains for me is to thank you for tuning in and watching Late Night Banter with me, Del Singh. Don't forget, if you go to www.latenightbanter.com, you can actually check out previous shows and a little more about some of the guests as well. And there's a link to the HEAL website on there as well, so that if you find after the show you haven't made a note of it. So all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for watching. Vaiguru Khalsa, Vaiguru Fateh. Good night. Thanks for joining us on Late Night Banter. Trust you enjoyed the banter. And my guest next week is Dr. Jason Wara, OBE, Director of East End Foods plc and Chair of West Midlands IOD.